What is up, all my fellow weebs and weebettes? It is I, Anime Alex, back again with another build video. Uh, I am severely behind our build video series before Sunbreak, that is, and we are trying to just catch up. I have been away at a funeral, again, like I said in the last build video, and if you haven't seen that, then go check that out. It was for the great sword, and also check out my previous build videos. Anyways, today we are coming with the best build for Lance. You know it, you love it, and you probably don't play it. And I feel bad for all the Lance mains with their new Silkbind attacks. They got completely, and I mean completely shafted, but that is not why we are here. Why we are here is actually just to talk about the best build for this weapon. Anyways, the Lance build that we are going to be using is going to be the Tigrex Lance. We are going to be using it, and for both builds, there are actually not that many build options that you have with this weapon. I guess another fun thing that I could have done and entertained would be a Master's Touch Lance build, but honestly I feel like the DPS isn't really that great on it, so I didn't really decide to do it. As opposed to statuses and elemental damage, the Lance doesn't really do that much base raw damage that I feel like building into elemental Lance would be completely just like redundant. And not only that, I would feel as if also using status Lance would just be also completely redundant for the lack of damage that you are using. I mean, yeah, you can poke pretty well, but I mean, I really don't see a use of elemental Lance and or status Lance. But hey, when Sunbreak comes around and you got that dollar store Wyvern dive, I'm pretty sure it elemental and status Lance could be more of a use, since the diving down attack is a multi-hit attack. But hey, we are here to talk about the highest DPS Lance build that you will find around. Now, I would like to say something. I don't have a great talisman for this, so if you don't have a great talisman for this build, then just do what I did. And if you do have a great talisman for this build, then congrats, you're lucky. I am not. So, we are kicking things off with Tigrex Lance. We basically have 238 raw with attack boost 3 in a rampage slot. Obviously, we're not going to make any use of brutal strike, and we're pretty much not going to use any affinity boost too. We have a sliver of white sharpness. Our affinity is 15% negative affinity, not positive, but negative, sadly, and we have no element. But hey, that white sharpness dough. Our slots are a 1 slot. We have 5 beautiful pieces of Valstrax armor, so that is what we are rocking. And obviously, the reason why we use this is for level 5 level 5 Dragon Heart, which grants us 10% increased damage when we are at 80% health, while also giving us level 3 Resuscitate, giving us a huge raw damage boost. And then Resentment's kind of good. You know, you can probably make it work with Lance due to you tanking a lot of stuff. Now, I would like to say, since we are in base game, you really don't need any access to guard. You don't need anything in guard. All you really have to do is just normally block, and you will pretty much deal with everything, and just spam out Anchor Rage. Anyways, coming over here to our talisman, and keep in mind we are using Demon Petulance 3s, and our switch skills are basically whatever you want to put. Our Thunderous Talisman is a Protective Polish level 2 with a level 1 flinch free decoration, or not decoration, with a level 1 flinch free, and we have no slots. Ideally, you want a level 2 Protective Polish with a 3 slot, which is kind of a high, or which is kind of a tall order, but if you can make that work, then congrats to you. Or yeah, that's basically it. I guess you can get Critical Jewel level 2 with a 3 slot, but that's going to be also a tall order. So the talisman you will need for this is going to be quite difficult to actually get, and if you do not have it, then just freely do what I did here. Anyways, you'll need 3 critical jewel 2s, you'll need 3 grinder jewel 1s. In my case, since I had flinch free on my talisman, you probably would want a brace decoration to be replaced into this diversion jewel. And if you do have an extra 1 slot left over, then use the diversion jewel level 1. Anyways, you're going to also need 2 guardian jewel 3s. Ideally, you will need 3 guardian jewel 3s if you do have the protective polish level 2 with a level 1 or level 3 slot. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it's not that it's, I don't want to say it isn't that decoration intensive, because in actuality it kind of is, because we're using a lot of high-end decorations, but we're not using a lot of them. We're just using 3 critical jewel 2s and 2 guardian jewel 3s while having 3 grinder jewel 1s and a diversion jewel because of circumstance. So, you know, kind of medium on the decoration requirements. It's just a lot of grinding and a lot of in-game grinding. But besides that, the reason why we are using Guardian Jewel 3s is because when we block and we proc offensive guard, we get plus 10% increase in our attack damage, which is going to be significantly more than what we can opt for with any attack boost that we would try our best to get, but sadly we would inevitably fail at. But other than that, fairly good build. Once you get Guardian Jewel 3s, if you can get it, you'd get a 15% attack boost increased, and we also have level 2 protective polish to make our white sharpness last. Anyways, that is our build, and I also want to point out that just having 5-piece Valstrax will give you level 3 weakness exploit. So I would also like to say a little disclaimer: you will need a fighter cat, because our affinity is negative 15% affinity even after our decorations. So you are going to need that 30% affinity to bring you up to positive 15% affinity from the cat, and then from there you have like 60, I believe 65. I want to say you have like 65% affinity. Either way, you are going to have quite low affinity on this build. It is what it is. It may be even swapping out, possibly you can mess around with it and just swap out the Guardian Jewel 3s for Mighty Jewel 2s. That's also a theory that I have. It brings you up to 5% affinity, and then you basically can go up to 85% affinity, which actually probably is going to be best over the course of the hunt, honestly. Yeah. But whatever you really want to do, it is up to you. I probably should make a Counterland. Make a Counterlands build to be fun. But hey, I didn't really prepare one, sadly, just because I didn't really think that offensive guard is all that necessary, and it's also very hard to fit like all 3 on a build while also simultaneously having access to other streams of damage output. So if you can figure out a build and make it fit, then have at it. But I've shown you how to make the most damaging lance builds with the other build. So now let's go on to our next build, which is going to be the anti-healer build. And like I make known, I usually make an anti-healer build for usually every single raw or best use raw weapon. If you're an elemental use weapon, it's kind of different because you have your element and you should be really using your element to fight the monsters, namely bows and dual blades. But in this case, since Lance primarily functions off of raw, we're going to have to make two different raw builds, one being the most DPS set and one being an anti-healer set, because if you are in a multiplayer hunt with a healer, it's going to be very hard to proc your Valstrax bonus. And so here is where this comes in. And what we are using is still the Tigrex Lance, but our build is going to diverge from using 5-piece Valstrax set to Kaiser Crown, which is Teostra's Helmet, Toby Kadachi Mail S, Valstrax Braces, Chrome Metal Coil, Ingot Greaves S, and I also want to make a disclaimer that your Chrome Metal Coil can also be technically the Anjanath Coil, depending on your Fatal Tempest Talisman, and then our Fatal Tempest Talisman is the attack boost level 2 with a level 3 slot and a level 1 slot. Also disclaimer, it does not need to be a level 3 slot, it can just be a level 2 slot, and the level 1 slot is just extra, and I just put diversion on it. I would like to say you will need 3, and count them, 3 lovely grinder jewels. You would need 1 tenderizer jewel just to get 2 max weakness exploit. You will need 3 critical, no, not 3, I mean 2, sorry, count them, 2 critical jewel 2s. And after that you need 2 sharp jewel 2s, and then your 1 slots are up for you. I simply put in a brace jewel level 1 and a diversion jewel level 1, and that basically rounds out my build. So we are looking at level 6 crit eye, level 4 attack boost, level 3 crit boost, level 3 weakness exploit, level 3 sharpening, and level 2 protective polish for your major like decorations, like the important ones. And for our status, we have positive 15% affinity, and if we use the cat, we will get up to 45% affinity, and with weakness exploit we'll have 95% affinity, giving us some consistent damage, thankfully. And we will basically, this will conclude our Lance builds. Not really a lot going on with Lance, fairly straightforward, one and done. There's just a one and done Lance. There's a kind of a little bit of playing around with it if you want to go Master's Touch, meme set, or counter guarding with offensive guard. You know, you could do that, but hey, that is it. Hope you guys check out my previous build videos and future build videos, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, all my fellow weebs and weeb.